All right, step
the
into
mic
the
is
frame.
yours.
Step into the frame. We good? All right.
We're in the frame.
All right, we're in the frame. Technical difficulties, folks. You know how the deal is. We're locked into the hallway track once again at Perf now. Post a really insightful talk. I'd say fantastic, but insightful talk by, I think it was Jody Chan. Is that the name?
China.
Yeah, man.
Web performance in China.
Yeah, the Great Firewall.
Way more complicated.
Yeah,
than I thought
it was like, wow. And listen, like I said, I'm waiting for some, some kind of like officers to come in and just pick her up and just leave with her. Like, I think she put out way too much intel there. You know, Jody, I hope you make it home safe. You know what I mean? They're coming to get you. Yeah.
Slides like a second time though.
Bro.
It was like watching The Matrix for the first time.
Yeah.
And just realizing, okay, hang on, let's backtrack.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. We just saw the black cat twice, the Matrix. But speaking of, man, as I always do with my guests, I just have them introduce themselves about who they are, what they do, and we start from there.
Well, hi, I'm Tanner.
What up, Tanner? Good to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
I'm another engineer.
All right.
Red Ventures.
Okay.
I'm on the cohesion team.
Okay.
It's funny, I don't think anybody outside of Red Ventures would know or care about cohesion, internal product, but it's great. On the side, I do a podcast. And one of these days,
we're going to do it.
Get you on it.
Yes, please.
Catching up with web performance.
Yeah.
So you haven't heard of it? Check it out.
Yes.
Catching up with web performance. I just ask people kind of like this. I go, hey, what's your story? How'd you get into web performance?
100%.
And just get crazy stories from all over the place.
Good,
so that's
good.
In a nutshell.
To backtrack very quickly, we met, I think, when I was in, is it Charlotte?
It's in Charlotte.
Yes.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, man. I totally remember that.
I was talking about CSS naming conventions. Like the history of, which I guess is kind of my shtick, is just history of whatever.
Which I love.
History of CSS naming conventions. And yours, I think, were you doing the Hateful Weight or something?
Either Hateful Weight, it might have been, it might have been Hateful Weight. Now that I think about it, I thought it might have been the Planet of the APIs, maybe. I don't know.
I'm feeling. We're gonna go back.
Yeah.
Back in time after this.
Yeah.
Find it.
Yeah.
That was it. It was crazy.
You know what I remember about that conference? Before we get into things, I remember I was like, "Oh, dude, they have these bikes here. Oh man, maybe I'll just bike there to the location." Not realizing how far it was, I showed up to drenched. Yeah, it was hot. I showed up drenched, bro. I was drenched. It's crazy. Anyhow, so you have a web performance podcast.
Yes.
How many episodes deep are you right now?
Published or recorded? It's about got 15 out now. Finally,
amazing.
It's taken me unacceptably long to actually publish them, but I've tried to keep roughly to one a month.
Okay.
And then I got 4 more in the queue.
Nice.
And then eventually, it's funny because we'll just maybe talk about the web performance community for a second. I put out 2 messages. I put 1 message on Twitter and 1 message in Slack. I haven't had to ask anybody to come on the show besides that. Like, everybody has been so generous with their time.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, I'll come on, which also is crazy because outside of that, I'm like, I'm not on
socials like that.
I'm like, I'm not a public face. People don't know me. People don't even know Red Ventures, right? So for people to take a leap of faith, coming on a show with me, and sharing their story, it's incredible. So 15 episodes in.
That's amazing, dude.
Hopefully we'll keep going.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the podcast. What are some of your sort of like memorable bits that, would be like great one-liners that you remember, like, oh, I remember when so-and-so said this, or of the many?
Yeah, because great one-liners. I don't know if I have so many one-liners as much as just like,
or little stories you remember.
Yeah, well, the variety of the stories. Because, the first story that comes to mind every time is just Annie.
So
Annie Sullivan. I'm going to play favorites here, but she was...
Don't.
So I love everybody that I've gotten to talk to, but hers was just kind of bonkers to me. She started out in the gaming industry.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I was doing 100+ hour weeks. Have you ever worked? This is a what? and then went from gaming straight to Google,
Yeah.
and then just
Wait. Gaming to Google. I thought she went to she worked for like US Department Services
we didn't get to cover that in the episode.
okay.
But that was kind of if I'm Annie, please correct me. It was some kind of like maybe a summer program.
Oh, okay.
They do these programs.
Got it.
And so Annie participated in that.
Okay, got it.
But
Okay.
it wasn't part of the origin story.
Okay, got it. Got
So
it.
again, but that just makes my point that she's been like so much experience. The number of projects that she's touched
Yeah.
within Google. I mean, hearing about the beginning of Google Docs. What? You
I
got
need to hear that. Yeah.
So that was really exciting. As so many of the people are here actually. But I'm trying to think of one-liners still.
Or just like
The
I
other-
said, we were like memorable stories. I say one-liners just to be
There's
like, oh,
a bunch of crazy variety, but then two, a theme that keeps cropping up is like tooling as a gateway.
okay.
A lot of the time when I ask people about their story, they like start off somewhere. There's a lot of people who went to school for computer science or something, and then there's a lot of people who, well, there's a handful who didn't.
Yeah.
But almost every person, there's this turning point in the story where they say something like, I started using Lighthouse. I looked at the report, and it got me interested, and I started asking questions. So a theme for me has been the power of tooling as a gateway for
100%.
everything else.
You know, I'm glad you said that, and you know that someone started using Lighthouse, because I find Lighthouse gets a some undue heat. You know,
Yeah.
and I simply say this because I too, you know, when I was getting into performance, you know, I read some books, whatever. I can get into that another day, but I remember starting to deep dive into dev tools
Uh-huh.
and even Lighthouse, and like the metrics that came out of Lighthouse, and I was going deeper,
Yeah.
you know. And for me, like I was doing that, but I've always talked about how Lighthouse really has been a gateway for others to come in, to be like, okay, I see this score, but you know, what's beyond that?
Yep.
You know, and I think that's been overlooked in how we've been able to attract more people into the community. But we can get into that another day.
Yeah, I mean, just one other thing on top of that has been, it's even come up here a couple times, but with that tooling as a gateway theme, another side of that is that people just don't know. We don't know what we don't
know.
see. Today, Estella told us about subpart timing in LCP, and I was literally thinking of this last night because that's another thing. I'm trying to make a little tool. I'm prototyping on the side.
Yeah.
It needs a name. If you can think of a name, but
I'll get on that.
Until people, I don't really agree with the statement, you can't manage what you can't measure, because like, I mean, people improve things that they can't measure on the time. We cook. I learn. I do martial arts. You're not measuring it discreetly. You have this but anyways.
Yeah.
If something is out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, then that I think is definitely true. And there are a lot of things that we want to measure or we want to know about. It's not there. And until you get a tool, until you get a metric or a standard or a protocol, it's just crazy that like those things tub up and they bring people in.
I mean, I think we've been able to create and understand more things as tools got better, you know, and as she mentioned, like, and I think I talked about this yesterday, maybe, like, we are starting to dig into, like, we used to look at metrics. Now we're looking at metrics within the metric, you know, which is, again, wild, but it's been necessary because we've been able to pinpoint, like, oh, you know, this waterfall bar is like the X resource loading. Now we've been able to look within this waterfall and you're like, well, it's actually not loading until this part, you know, and this is all just like whatever, you know? So it's, you know, that has been very insightful and it's added to the complexity, but, you know, we never said it was easy. You know, it is, as I've been saying from time to time, investigative work. You know, we're looking at a crime scene. You know, I was at this conference earlier and I was like, you know, is this blood splatter and then that bullet casing connected? We're not sure, but we're actually investigating. You know, that's what it comes down to.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to have you divulge, the tooling that you're trying to create, but what
Oh,
started the idea
my
of creating this
prototype
tool?
thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can look it up right now. Right
Oh,
now, I called it PerfWatch.
okay.
GitHub.com/Tanner Hodges
Okay.
/PerfWatch.
All right.
There's several PerfWatches out there. So
You're just
I'm
like,
I
join
need
the
to-
club.
But yeah, that's what I called it to start with.
Yeah.
As
Beta.
much as I love the tools like web page test,
Yeah.
Lighthouse, even Chrome dev tools or all the dev tooling
Yeah.
within browsers, man, when you just want an answer, I've fallen in love with New Relic. over
Okay.
time. That's our rum tool that we've been using.
Yeah. Started by a
at
Canadian,
Red
by the way.
Hey,
Yeah.
we need. Yeah, I was about to go Canada.
Okay.
So, as much as I love the tools, the feedback loop is still obnoxiously long. I was
Okay.
trying to do some help desk stuff earlier and
Yeah.
chat with somebody like, hey, yeah, let's pull up your web page. Let's look at it right now.
Yeah.
And then I want to run a web page test experiment.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's sit here, wait, and talk while this
Okay.
experiment runs.
Okay. Got it.
Cool. Refresh the page.
Yeah.
Like, the closest thing I've seen to what I would like out of just like immediate feedback, because cool thing about these New Relic dashboards, you can see everything changing over time.
Yeah.
When you get that deploy stamp and you know what happened after the deploy,
Yeah.
it's like, man, what if I could get that out of something like web page test or Lighthouse?
Yeah.
The closest thing I've seen, we saw it on stage. I forget who was showing it. Might have been Nishu, about the Web Vitals Chrome extension.
Okay.
You can enable console logging,
Yeah.
preserve log in your
Yeah.
DevTools, and then as you refresh the page, you'll see each metric show up. Okay, cool. I can see this. All I want to do is take that logging and put it in a chart, kind of like you see in any of these other visualizations.
Yeah.
If I can get that chart, I'm not so worried personally about the precise numbers.
Yeah.
As much as we love numbers, I just want to know, are my changes, are they working?
Yeah.
Are things going up or down?
Yeah.
So the tool I'm working on is essentially local rum.
Okay.
Can I just get some monitoring for me as I'm developing? I want to have this in the background,
Yeah.
that console log kind of thing. Just have it running. I'm going to work for a while. Save change, go back when I need to. Save change, refresh, save page. Do my normal development workflow
Mhm.
and not have to go out of my way to get that performance feedback. If I can have it, what I want to get to is where it notifies me.
Mm.
If we see, this is where I need to learn statistics, right? But if we see a standard deviation or 2 standard deviations above
Yeah.
baseline that you've set from current page loads, like,
Yeah.
whoa, you did something.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah.
And get you right there and then when you're developing.
Yeah.
That's my long-winded backstory of what I'm trying to do is
Yeah.
I just want real-time feedback now, because the power of things like ESLint, Pretty, or any of those, it's in your editor right there. I don't know how I'd get that performance feedback exactly for like web performance,
Yeah.
but I can get close by having some kind of local rum dashboard.
Local rum dashboard. Okay.
Somebody else, if you can make it before me, please do, because
Open source. Yeah. Hey, that's it. Hey, congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you.
That's some work right there.
It is.
How many kids?
2.
Okay.
Jackson and Ruby, if you're watching this,
How old? How old?
8 and 9.
Oh, right.
They're crazy.
Okay.
Yep.
Haven't
learned coding yet, but family computers coming this year from Santa.
There you go.
Don't tell them.
Santa got the message. Very interesting. We'll have to sit down and really expand on that.
Yeah.
Like demos.
When we get off
and
this, I'll show you what I got.
And beyond that, we'll be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I think tooling is very important, and as you said, some people have just been able to get in through tooling. Just being able to be exposed to concepts and just data, and then be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Yeah, exactly. And I was talking to Paul Irish earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Paul over at Lighthouse.
Hey, Paul.
And I remember digging so deep, and I remember tweeting some stuff like, oh man, they got rid of this this metric, whatever. And I think I made some kind of comment, and he replied he's like, go look in here. and just with a little smiley face. I'm like, oh, so basically they had
What is this Cunningham's law? What's the name of that law where it's like fastest way to an answer is to not to ask the question, post the wrong answer?
Oh, I don't even know.
Okay, I'm gonna try doing this. I want to post terrible performance advice and have all of the performance police come find me.
I know, that'd be amazing. Start fights.
Yeah.
That's
a terrible idea.
But it is. I do like the idea of the pathway in is like some tooling that you like.
Yeah.
And that gets you totally involved. So, awesome. Yo, Tanner, I know they're about to start up again. I heard Sia's godly voice come down like
from on high.
We are about to start again. Thanks for stopping by.
So deep.
I know, right? Hello. Sia, you didn't know she did Darth Vader? Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by, dude.
Yeah.
And thanks for the charger.
The
Charger loan.